Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Monday night advanced Bible study on the 1st of November, 2021. I'm asking everybody to like and share, subscribe to Prophets of Awakening, and hit the notification button. And it's a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. I want to say shalom and welcome to everybody. We're going to do our moment of silence in our prayer and psalms, and do a little current events and a little Q&A, and then we're going to some scriptures. Okay. And so, moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and our Creator, all they're doing for us to bring about our deliverance in these latter days. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this time, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as our servant David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, and to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not thy face from us, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. I'm going to read the Psalms. I'm going to do Psalm 40. It's a praise for answered prayer. It's a Psalm of David. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of the horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and he set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Lord, my God, are the wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to us with. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offerings thou didst not desire. Mine ears hast thou opened. Burnt offerings and sin offerings hast thou not required. Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. I delighted to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation, and lo, I have not refrained my lips. O Lord, thou knowest. I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not concealed thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord, and let thy loving kindness and thy truth continuously preserve me. For innumerable evils have compassed me about. My iniquities have taken hold upon me, so that I am not able to look up. They are more than the hairs of my head, therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me, O Lord, and make haste to help me. Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. Let them be driven backwards and put to shame that wish me evil. Let them be desolate. For the reward of their shame they shall They say unto me, Aha, aha. Let all those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. Let such as love thy salvation say continuously, the Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. Thou art my help and my deliverer. Make no tarrying, O my God. So this is Psalm 40. It's a praise for answered prayers, Psalm of David. Okay, any comments?
Verse 1, I wait patiently upon the Lord.
Okay.
Uh, all through the Psalms, it's telling you to wait on him, wait. You know, during this judgment, I'm seeing a lot of Hebrews panicking. We want the great substance, but we don't want to wait, man. We got to wait this judgment out. So it was
Right.
already prophesied. And
Right.
we just got to wait and watch this judgment. And
Right.
we coming out.
Exactly. Yeah, he said tarry and wait. Is there something? Anybody else?
Verse 13, Shalom.
Okay, shalom.
Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. And then verse 14, let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. Let them be driven backward and put to shame that wish me evil. I pray against my enemies,
Right.
our enemies. I ask him to avenge our enemies.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's something that you brought that up, 13 and 14, because he did just that in Psalm 22 when in 2 Samuel chapter 22 when David passed. Let me read that right quick. 2 Samuel 22. It says, it says, let me get it. Chapter 2 Samuel 22 and 10. And it says he bowed the heavens. Okay. Right quick. It says in chapter 2 Samuel 22 and 10, it says he bowed the heavens also, came down and under his feet, and was under his feet, and he rode upon a cherubim, did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness and pavilion round about him, dark waters and thick clouds of the sky. Through the brightness he bowed before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows. See that? He sent out arrows, scattered them, lightning, and discomfited them. And the channels of the sea appeared, and the foundation of the world was discovered at the rebuking of the Lord and the blast of his breath of his nostril. So David said that asked him to make his enemies go backwards. So it tells you right here, he sent out arrows, scattered them, lightning, and discomfited them. And then 17 says, and he sent from above and took me and drew me out of many waters. Okay. Is there something?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Hey, right?
Okay.
Hey, just like like David fought Goliath, right?
Uh-huh.
That's just like our enemy today. Like when like the book of Zephaniah, gather thyself together, before the decree,
Right.
before that's what they're doing with this mandate. That's a decree.
Right.
And that's a Goliath in all our lives. And
Right.
that, but it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna get delivered. It's coming. Okay. So everybody good on that? Okay. So everybody got a current events? Okay. I got a couple. Got one right here. Oh yeah. Okay.
Back to the channel. I'm going to be sharing with you a story of a black man who was shot 7 times by this racist on the right for simply existing. Yep, it was simply existing. Because all the man did was ask the guy on the right to slow down. He asked the white guy if he could slow down because apparently he was driving really fast, right? And he was asked to slow down. Now, the fact that he was driving fast, I can probably guess that he was driving fast because he wanted to intimidate the so-called black guy to begin with. So he's probably already very hot and charged. Okay, we know of an incident that happened in Michigan where this black guy, he was in Home Depot's parking lot, and a white guy was driving fast, and apparently. See, I have my opinions on these things. If you're driving fast through a parking lot and you hit someone and you kill them, in this case, it was an older black guy. He was smashed into his vehicle in a Home Depot parking lot. In a parking lot, y'all. Who the heck drives that fast in a parking lot? See, what happens is sometimes this demon that rises up in these people at the sight of a so-called black person, they don't know how to tame it. Okay, and so in the case of this guy, you're going to hear the details of why and how he shot this man 7 times. But you can clearly look in this guy's eyes and see that there is that perpetual hatred that I told you I was prophesied. The Bible says they would have a perpetual hatred that would burn in them forever and ever. It's burning. Look at his eyes. At the sight of this black man, he was deeply triggered. Okay? Anyway, take a listen at this and I will be right back.
Marlon Gale says his brother Bobby Jr. had been shot 7 times, twice in the face. A part of the violence captured in the surveillance video KCRA obtained. While a gunman yelled racial epithets, Marlon says his brother called on his faith, leaving this voicemail message.
While I've been shot, pray for me. I swear to God, please, in the name of Jesus, hallelujah.
This source of strength has helped the Gale family through this heartbreak.
We believe in love. We believe in forgiveness. But at the same time, white supremacy, hatred, and bigotry and all of that, we stand against that.
He says Bobby is a cement mason who was preparing to do some work with a friend near this Wells Fargo Friday night when he says a driver almost hit him.
Well, my brother threw his hands up, was like, hey man, slow down. What's going on? Like, slow down. And the guy got out his truck, parked his truck, got out, and he started saying the N-word and just started shooting.
Now the Stockton Police Department is investigating this shooting as a potential hate crime.
It's a heightened level right now. We take these types of crimes very seriously, and so we're investigating it to the fullest. We have some detectives assigned to it, as well as an officer that's assigned to the FBI task force.
Gale says Bobby's friend was able to get away, and even though his brother was shot multiple times, none of the bullets pierced any major arteries.
Miracles still happen. To be shot 7 times and to live through that.
Okay, I would like it if some of my white viewers can help me understand this, especially those of you who send me messages, okay? When you all hear me quote that scripture that talks about, even if you don't believe in the Bible, but it says that they, children of a certain group, would have a perpetual hatred for the children of another group that was going to burn within them forever. What are your thoughts when these things continue to happen where you'll see this guy jump out of his car, and he started yelling racist words to this black man just from looking at him? What are your thoughts, okay? Another example, I'm going to give you my own personal example, in which I share from time to time. Most of you who watch this channel, you know that I'm a very easygoing person, so is my husband. Okay, I'm very friendly, easy to get along with type person, and I don't cause no trouble, right? Okay, you can perceive that just from watching this channel. But almost 20 years ago, when I was pregnant with my daughter Rebecca, she'll be 20 real soon. When I was pregnant with her, my husband and I would take walks down the street. We lived on a country dirt road in Belleville, Michigan at the time. Okay? Now, there are black people who live in Belleville, Michigan, and Sumter Township. We actually lived in Sumter, but it used a Belleville address. You know how sometimes you'll have a small area within a larger area, or whatever. Even though the post office was addressed as Belleville, was actually Sumter Township. It was black people lived in Sumter Township. They still do, right? So we're walking down the street, and these young white guys, they see us. We're walking at 6 o'clock in the morning. And when they saw us walking down this country road, I guess they perceived that no eyes were around to witness anything. And so they started charging at us really fast in their pickup truck. We perceived that they were about to hit us because they were not slowing down. And so my pregnant self and my husband, we had to leap down into a ditch to keep these devils from hitting us. Please explain that to me. Explain that to me. Why did something like that happen? Why? I want some of my white viewers. Now, I'm not saying that you yourself would do something like this. Okay? Some of you are in the truth. Some of you follow our ministry. Okay? So this is not an accusation against you, but I would like it if some of you can help us to understand why do some white people look at us this way. I already know the answer. I want you all to interject. Even if you don't want to answer in the comment section, if you want to email me, that is fine. Okay? All right, you can contact us through our website, contact@watchmereports. Okay? That's the email.com, or through the website, watchmereports.com. Help me to understand from your perspective. Why is it that some white people, upon sight of a black person, wants to kill them? Help me to understand that. Why did these two young men want to kill me and my husband and our unborn child on the side of the road, country road in Belleville, Michigan, almost 20 years ago? Help me to understand that. Just take a guess at it. Because I know some of you may say, well, I can't think for another person. I'm not asking you to. Because if you would ask me why so-called black people, some black people do some of the things they do, I can offer you an answer. I could. You see, I do it all the time on this channel. I don't just speak on one issue. I speak on many issues. Black men, black women, white men, Asians, it doesn't matter, right? Everybody got their own demons that they're dealing with. So I would like for you all to help me to understand why, upon sight, some so-called white people want to kill us or hurt us, or they despise us, they can't stand us, don't want to be in our presence. Why is that? Now, one thing I want to note about this particular case, the family, I don't know if they were asked by the news reporter that was interviewing them, or they volunteered this information themselves. They brought up the fact that they are forgiving type people. Now, if that was a question that was asked, why do so-called white reporters always ask black people if they forgive someone who either hurt or killed their relative? Why is it? Because I never hear a reporter asking a so-called white person if they forgive a black person who killed their relative, or a white person who killed their relative, or any person who killed their relative. There's never a question of forgiveness. We're asking the family, do they forgive? It's always about getting to the bottom of this and finding that murderer and bringing him to justice. But with us, it's always, do you forgive? Do you forgive? Okay? Now, if the news reporter didn't ask this and the black family just voluntarily said they forgive, or they're forgiving type people, why is it that we always feel the need to talk about forgiveness in the face of tragedy against our own people? Now, in this case, I'm glad our brother survived, right? I'm glad he survived to live to tell the story. But why? Why does forgiveness always come up? Why do we default to that? See, Christianity has messed us up so doggone bad, so cotton picking bad. It's messed us up so cotton picking bad to where we always talking about love and forgiveness, regardless to how heinous the crime is against us, right? But I don't see that same type of talk when it's black on black. That shows that there's a problem with us. We got a sickness, a spiritual sickness. We think we doing something. We think we the bigger person, the better person, the more spiritual, the more righteous person. No. That would be a person who has the exact opposite of where to go.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Can y'all hear me?
We hear you.
Okay.
It seems to me when she told that story that guy was almost targeted.
The guy in the parking lot? Or the other guy?
Right, the one in the parking lot. It seems like
Okay.
they targeted him for just that.
Right, exactly. Right. That's becoming the everyday thing now. Yeah. So my thing is that what baffled me is, you know, they say that she was down in Christians, and then you looking at it, she see the hatred that's in the white folks for the Israelite, and so she's saying that these devils, well, they're Christian. They dealing with the New Testament too, but you see that. Yeah, it's like you ain't really divided there because that ain't we was in captivity in Egypt, and that was the Egyptians did us bad. That wasn't these people right here. They didn't look like these people. So I'm gonna read something right quick, put a little more into this conversation. I'm in the Ezekiel right quick, 35. Read that. So it says in Ezekiel 35, prophecy against Mount Seir. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate, and I will lay thy cities to waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. This is what she just mentioned right here. Because thou hast a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had came to an end. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with the slain men in the hills and in the valleys, and in all the rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. And I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, because thou hast said, These two nations, these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it when Lord was there. So he's talking about southern and the northern kingdom. They possessed the land. It says, therefore, as I live, says the Lord, I will even do according to mine anger and according to the envy which thou hast used out of hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. Right? So we see right here, the Most High ain't dealing with these people right here. So that this what I just read right here and getting the proper understanding of it, it trumped the New Testament. It trumped the ideology of the New Testament. And she just quoted it. But they steady talking about Yahushua and that whole situation. They keep talking about it, but she's showing right here, this dude shot the brother in the face. And we see the hatred. It's in ticked up. Like it isn't went up. The hatred is then escalated. We see these Karens all over the place doing the most, and Billy Bob's. It just isn't escalated. And it's all because we're at the time of the end. But like I said before, he said that it don't add up with the narrative in the New Testament because of these ain't, like I said, it ain't the Egyptians. The Egyptians ain't none of ain't no kin to us. And then these people ain't no kin to us. So they killed the narrative about JC. Let's look at it. We'll go to New Testament like quick show I'm talking about. Now we see this obvious. Whoever these people is, the Most High got a problem with them. And we just read right here. So let me read one more verse out. This Esau. He just said Mount Seir. That's Esau. So let's look over here. Obadiah, right quick. Obadiah. In the last 5 verses of Obadiah. This same people, Esau. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. See that? He's telling you who gonna get delivered. Upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, that's Ephraim, and the house of the Esau stubble, that's these people, stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining out of the house of Esau. The Lord hath spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the Mount of Esau, and they of the plains Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. So we just told you right here, ain't no Edomites none gonna remain. So go to the narrative of JC. He supposed to came and died on the cross. He was hidden in the bosom of the Father all that time till he showed up in Jerusalem to die for all people, all blood. You see, that's a lie right there, what I just read. So we'll get where I was going. We're in the New Testament. And it says, let me get it. That's what it just baffles me. They see that, but they don't see the big picture. So, okay, let me get it. Yeah, I'm in chapter 12, verse 10. It says, and I heard a voice saying in heaven, now is come the salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ, his JC, for the accusers of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, and woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down upon you, having great wrath, because let's see, having great wrath because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Okay, let me get this. Right, 14 says, chapter 14, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000 having the Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts, and the elders, and no man could learn song was 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. Okay, going somewhere. So it says, okay, let me get it. Okay. Okay. Give me a minute. Okay, well, I'm not, it's eluding me, but it says that in Revelations where the under the throne, all the people cried from all nations and all kindred. All nations and all kindred cried out to the Lamb because he had shed his blood for them. So we just saw right there where the Most High said he gonna wipe Esau off the face of the earth. There ain't gonna be nobody remaining here. Then let's go one more place. So that's one group of people. And now I'm over here in 38, Ezekiel 38. See? 38. He just said in 35 he had a problem with Esau. He says right here, let me read it. So this is what the Father's saying. But it's all nations and all kindred crying out to the Son. But the Father said, prophesied 35:1 says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. He said all nations and all kindred. This is a nation right here. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. Prophesy against it. Now I'm in 38. And he says, this Japhet, another nation, another group of people. 38. And the word of the Lord came unto me saying, Son of man, set thy face against God, Magog, chief prince of Meshach, Tubal, all these nations. And he just said over there in Revelation that all nations and all kindred was on the throne. And that's a lie from the pits of hell. And so, like I said before, you know, she just said the man that got a, you know, you can look at him in the face and see he got a hatred for Israel. You see what they did with us the last 400 years. And how they dealt with us on the boat, doing the transatlantic slave trade. They ain't no kin to us. And they got a whole different origin. So that's just that little situation that trumps the New Testament. I mean, if you trying to get to the bottom of everything, get to the truth. It trumps.
Shalom. And
Okay.
then they want us to forgive them.
Right, exactly. Right. But well, you know, it's just in us that we ain't gonna do that anyway, because Creator gonna come, or the host gonna come do his job, do his thing anyway. Same way he did the Egyptians and the Babylonians. So yeah.
Yes.
Get this something? Anybody got any comments?
And they go back to what we were discussing yesterday too, you know, the New Testament versus the Old Testament. You know, in our book, the Tanakh, man, it's eye for eye, blood for blood. It's the Tanakh is
Right.
a very violent book. It's you know, it ain't that little fairy tale they wrote over there in the New Testament.
No, exactly. Don't add up. You know, It don't add up at all. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I got this other video. I'm gonna play this. We're gonna just let the rocks fall where they may. We'll rightly divide it when it's over.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I am going to be addressing the daughters of Zion. I want to bring some understanding to some questions that I've had many of you ask, those of you who may not understand or know who we are historically. So you wonder when I say the daughters of Zion, I had viewers ask me, when you say the daughters of Zion, who are you referring to or who are you talking about? And so we're going to get into that here. But before we get into who the daughters of Zion are, I want to direct you all to our ministry channel, which is Watchman Reports here on YouTube. On Watchman Reports, you're going to see a vast array of documentaries as well as teachings and videos that give a great explanation as to who we are. We didn't just start over here in America during slavery. Notice whenever not American history, but Black history is taught here in America, they usually just kind of shuffle through a handful of people talking about Martin Luther King and Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman and Malcolm X, maybe not Malcolm X, but just various people like that. And we just kind of shuffle around through those when we are talking about the public school. But our history goes far beyond anything they are teaching here in this country. Black history began at the beginning of civilization, okay? At the beginning of civilization. So I want you all to understand that first and foremost, life originated in Africa. And we were there, so-called Black people. So when you hear these other nations or these other groups of people trying to tell you things about your history that don't add up, they're trying to tell you that you came from monkeys. If that were the case, then that would mean all of humanity did, because they actually came forth from us, right?
Yeah. So that goes right in with what we just was dealing with. We just read in the so-called New Testament where he just said all nations was under the throne, and so that don't add up with what evolution and all that. It don't add up. Like I said, we're at a critical point in our history where you gotta do some serious brainstorming, man. When different things come up, and look at it and rightly divide it for what it's worth. And so yeah. So what that video right there, I think I'm gonna hold the rest of that for Thursday night. Is more or less a topic for the women's line. So I'm gonna hold that, and we'll talk about it on Thursday night. But yeah. So let me go over here, play this. Let's see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'll play it over here. See what everybody think about this. Can you see that?
Yes.
Honestly, virtually alone since the very beginning. He joins us tonight from the border at Spofford, Texas, with some remarkable new footage. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Tucker, good evening to you. That's right. We're currently about 40 miles inland from the border right now. And believe it or not, this area has turned into one of the biggest hotspots. That's because all the trains out here, the illegal immigrants have been using them in an effort to get further into the United States. We'll show you what we're talking about. Take a look at this wild footage shot right here yesterday by Texas DPS. What you're looking at are Texas State Troopers finding 19 illegal immigrants hiding inside of brand new cars that were inside of a train being shipped
shipped to the San Antonio area. You can see the troopers looking at those migrants, panning up and down. And it goes to show those migrants will do whatever they can to hide, to evade from law enforcement. Take a look at this second piece of video we embedded with DPS earlier today. This is what we saw today. We came across one train that had more than 20 illegal immigrants who were hiding inside of a coal car, believe it or not, in the blistering heat out here. They were all single adult men. DPS had to get up there and pull them out one by one. There were 23 in total. All of them were arrested and taken to jail for criminal trespassing. They are not being handed over to the federal government. Take a look at this third piece of video. This was just a couple of hours before that incident. We saw more illegal immigrants hitching rides on trains out here. Texas DPS pulled 5 other single adult males off of this train, arrested them as well. They are all going to jail as well. Again, they are not being handed over to Border Patrol. As all of this is happening, there is a brand new migrant caravan down in Mexico heading our way as we speak. Take a look at what happened when they encountered a roadblock from the Mexican government the other day. Take a look.
January 6th.
Like a hot knife through butter, you can see they pushed right through that resistance from the Mexican government. And take a look at this video we just shot here about an hour ago in Del Rio. Went up on a DPS helicopter. What you're looking at is the state of Texas is now preparing for this migrant caravan. Governor Greg Abbott is deploying massive amounts of Texas National Guard resources down to the Del Rio International Bridge area. This is the exact same area where we saw those 15,000 Haitians last month. The idea behind this being the state of Texas will step up where the federal government is not securing the border. They say they will not allow another Del Rio situation to happen. So they are pre-positioning resources all along the border there to send the message to those caravans. You will not be allowed into Texas. Texas DPS telling us, unlike the federal government, they will not roll out the red carpet for these caravans. We'll send it back to you.
Okay. Any comments? Okay, no comment. Let me see what we got to say right here. Isaiah 45:51, the Most High says that besides him there is no Savior. So who is Jesus Christ character? Right, exactly. Right. It's also in Isaiah 43 and 11. It says there's no other Savior besides me. Right. It says, how do you keep the Torah in this land? It's not ours. Best way you can, the best way you can. But, it's why it's so good, adamant that you find a good place to deal with, good group of people or Israelites that's rightly dividing the word and doing the best they can. So yeah. Right. Okay. So anybody have no comments on that? We gonna make it show that no black folks get over here. They can let over 40, 50 million Mexicans. Now all of a sudden they want to tighten up the border. When a big group of blacks started coming, now they're going to shut it down. Okay, let me play this here, and then I want to jump off give you some more information that was pertaining to that Phoenician and what we was talking about Galilee and all that. I'm going to give some more information and then give you a video to watch. Okay.
Most of our society is still in denial. People don't want to accept that things are never coming back to normal. In fact, there is no normal anymore. The new version of normal includes persistent disruptions, a decaying economy plagued by hyperinflation, and shortages that never seem to go away.
Okay.
For months, experts have been warning us that shortages are only getting worse. Industry after industry is deeply hurting, and executives say that there's no end in sight for the supply chain crisis. To make things worse, the vast majority of our manufacturers are extremely reliant on technology to keep their operations running, which has become pretty standard in our modern world. But due to a global chip shortage, thousands of industries are now struggling to increase production to meet demand. And we're being told this is just the beginning. In January, many were expecting the global semiconductor shortages to be over by the end of 2021. Here we are at the end of the year. So far, things have gone from bad to worse. Even the corporate media is alarmed by the fact that one of the core parts for global production is simply missing everywhere. The Wall Street Journal recently published a piece entitled, "The Global Chip Shortage is Far From Over, as Wait Times Get Longer," in which it revealed that companies are facing extended delays to get the chips they need to make their machines and their products work. Waiting periods for chip deliveries have continued to escalate above a healthy limit of 9 to 12 weeks throughout the entire year. During the summer months, the wait was extended to 19 weeks on average, according to
Okay, something going on outside with the weather, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Something going on with the computer. I was telling you about this. I got a video right here. It was dealing with it's dealing with the before I do that, I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. Any questions, Q&A, anybody got any questions or comments about anything before I go into this video? Anybody have any questions about anything they saw or they came across, or last week, or what we talked about on the Sabbath day, whatever. Okay. Yeah, so we was dealing with Phoenicia, and I was telling you about showing you how the Phoenicians are, the Medomites, and then how they, and I was telling you about how that in 143 BC, the Edomites stole the land of Israel. They was gone. When 70 AD got there, those were Edomites in the land, and then they was go to you got to get some popcorn and watch this after we get off the channel too, because it's got a lot of dots, connecting a lot of dots for a lot of things. So they when you understand that they left in 143 BC, y'all. So go to Daniel right quick. And I know people that read this but didn't know what it was saying, just skimming over it because they didn't really understand what it was saying. But I'm gonna show you what it's saying right here. It's Daniel. And he says in chapter 11 of Daniel. Chapter 11 and verse I'm gonna start at verse 11, but I'm going to verse 14. It says, "And the king of the south shall be moved with clover, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north. And he shall set forth a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into his hand. And when he had taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and he shall and he shall cast down many, tens of thousands, but he shall not be strengthened by it. And I was telling you, we did, you know, we got classes on and videos on a channel that's telling you about what happened with Antioch Epiphanes. He the Antichrist. They got you thinking Antichrist coming, but he already came. So there was him right here. And then, so he drove the Israelites out, cast them out of the land in 143 BC. And that's how we ended up on the west coast of Africa. And so verse 14 says, and in those times, that's in back when Antioch Epiphanes came, in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also, the robbers of our people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall. So the Israelites ran out in 143 BC, and the people that robbed Israel was the Edomites. So how did they rob them? They came in and stole their land. They stole their land when the Israelites left and went to the west coast. So from that point on, all the way to 70 AD, they was in the land posing as Israelites. So I'm gonna read 14 again. And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of our people shall exalt themselves. So how did they exalt themselves? They built a temple. Just like Solomon and Zerubbabel built a temple, Herod built one. And they exalted themselves and they established the vision. What David's vision, the vision that the Most High gave David and Solomon. They picked it up and built them a temple. But he also says, but they gonna fall. So in 70 AD, they was ran out. They was ran out in 70 AD, but they went up into Europe. This where the story becomes plain. Most High gonna find out whether you love him or not, because everybody knows. Anybody that's, we all came up in the church, and one denomination or another, and it's told, it's in the New Testament. They all went up. That Paul went through Europe. The seven churches in Revelation is up in Europe. The Edomites, the African. If you awaken, we know that the Israelites on the west coast of Africa. That's why they was able to come and get them in 1619, because that's where they had been all that time on the west coast of Africa. They ain't over there in the church of Smyrna and the church of Pergamus and all that. The Edomites. And so Herod had just like David got a lineage, Herod got a lineage. And so they gave Herod and his household, his lineage, safe passage to Spain. And that's where all the drama comes when you look at how the West was developed, and how even Columbus and him coming to America, all of it started in Spain.
Susquehanna Financial Group. By the beginning of October.
So now you see everything came from Spain. So that was all that area, all them people that Paul was going to and all that, them Edomites. Paul a Edomite. Josephus a Edomite. All them Edomites. We've been deceived. So let me read this right quick, then I'm gonna go into the video. That I had to give you a little foundation for us to play it. So and this what I'm going to show you has been hidden from us. Okay. Obadiah right quick. So it says in chapter, only one chapter, verse 5. If thieves came to thee, robbers, this is what Daniel told us. The robbers of our people picked up the vision, they built the temple, and then they failed. So it says, if thieves came to thee and robbers by night, how art I cut off? He had talked to the Israelites. Would they not have stolen till they had enough? See that? But we know Esau hate Israel, so he ain't gonna just get what he need and leave. He gonna do you bad. Same way with the transatlantic slave trade. It wasn't enough to come and get us and bring us over here, but they raping us on the boat, kicking us, throwing us over the boat, and sharks getting us and everything else. So it says, and if grape gatherers came unto thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things that Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Right there, he's telling you who the culprit is. Esau, Mount Seir, same people. Then we get down to verse 10. for thy violence against thy brother. Shame shall cover thee. Thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, this is when Antioch came, the Greeks came, third beast, and the foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou was one of them, being just the Most High talking. So it ain't me talking, and it ain't no, nobody else. It's the Lord of hosts talking. So that should be enough. So 12 says, but thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger, neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of their distress. Thou should not have entered into the gates, in case you're wondering, thou should not have entered into the gates with my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. And neither should thou have stood in the crosshair to cut off those that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those that did remain in the day of their distress. So that's what he's talking about. All this stuff that happened already. And so they came in and stole the land when the Antioch Epiphanies came and ran the Israelites out. That's in First Maccabees. And they came and stole the land, so the Edomites in the land. And so in 70 AD, just like he prophesied, they failed. So this is what we're going to pick this video up at. Okay, let me see if it's going to play over here. Okay, here we go. It's the history of Spain.
By 1000 BCE, Spain was sparsely populated by various small communities.
Notice what she said, 1000 BCE. This after the Common Era. This after JC post came on the scene. So we know the Edomites that left Israel. They ran out in 70 AD. So this is 1,000 years later. Let's look at it.
Which people lived by farming, fishing, and herding. By then, other people in Europe and the Mediterranean had heard of Spain, and more people began to arrive. Already at the dawn of history, Spain was a desirable destination, and as we will see, it remains so today.
Is that so?
In this lecture, I will describe 3 different groups of immigrants: the Celts, the Phoenicians, and the Greeks, who all retained their identity as they moved to Spain. They also left their mark on the increasingly diverse peninsula. Some came by...
This is how we know they're Edomites. This is how we know the Phoenicians is Edomites. Right here. She just said the Phoenicians went to Spain. See that?
Sea, but the earliest came overland through the passes in the Pyrenees. Let's begin with the Celts.
I'm Agent Mobius, by the way.
Origins of the Celts are shrouded in mystery. Celtic language is an Indo-European tongue, which means that speakers originated some 12,000 years ago, somewhere north of the Black Sea in the Russian steppes. Some of these tribes that can be clearly identified as Celtic settled in Central Europe, where they spread to many parts of Europe, including Spain. We are not sure of the dates for the movement of small groups of Celtic tribes from their homeland, but it seems that from about 1400 BCE through 600 BCE, small groups of these Celtic tribes left Central Europe and periodically crossed the Pyrenees through the western passes and settled in Spain. At first, they spread widely throughout the peninsula, but in most regions, they combined with the local population. However, isolated in the northwest mountains, they preserved much of their culture. This region of Spain is called Galicia. There is a region named Galicia in Central Europe, between Poland and Ukraine as well, and that also was an area of Celtic settlement. There is no consensus on what the word Galicia really means, but it always designates regions of Celtic settlement. and that remains true in Spain. The name Galicia is also related to Gaul, the region of modern France that was inhabited by Celts in Roman times. The Celts contributed a number of items to Spain's cultural legacy, but the Celts who entered about 800 BCE brought the most important innovation, iron. How did iron replace bronze in weapons and tools? By about 1200 BCE, increased warfare, particularly at sea, in the eastern Mediterranean, interrupted the usual trade routes, making tin scarce. So metalsmiths could not make bronze, the alloy of tin and copper. Smelters in Asia Minor began to experiment with.
So Joseph of Arimathea, the one that supposedly they built J.C. Cross. He used his tomb. He was buried in a borrowed tomb. That's J.C. That's Joseph of Arimathea tomb. But he was a wealthy merchant marine in tin. He got all his wealth from tin. So it's in Spain.
Iron, an abundant mineral in that region. Unforged iron is not much stronger than copper and no match for bronze, but when it's repeatedly heated in a hot charcoal furnace, carbon molecules combine with the iron to form a reliable metal known as carbon steel, which is strong enough to slice through bronze. Armed with iron weapons and knowledge of the new technology, Celts came into Spain. The Iron Age had dawned, and it dominated the world until the late 19th century, when metalsmiths developed new ways to make iron into steel without the carbon method. This is called Bessemer steel. The strong, warlike Celts settled in walled hilltop towns called castra, and their ruins still dot the mountain heights in Galicia. Within the walls, they lived in round stone huts and guarded their most precious commodity, herds of great long-horned cattle. The land of Galicia is beautiful. It rains a lot, so the rolling hills and mountains are green with forests of oak, myrtle, and pine, and the cattle can graze in valleys with meadows of low weeds and thorny bushes. The folding topography isolates each valley, increasing the tendency of each village to think of itself as independent. This geographic isolation was true even of coastal fishing villages, because the hills do not taper off as they reach the shore, but they continue to dominate the land until they plunge into deep fjords called rias. Coastal villages cling to the hills facing the sea. You'd think that this lush green landscape would produce abundance, but it doesn't. The earth is rocky, and the excessive rain permits a harvest only once a year, unlike the 2 or 3 crops per year yielded by sunny, irrigated lands further south. Strabo, a Greek geographer in 18 CE, wrote one of the earliest descriptions of this region, capturing the difficulty of life here in the Northwest. He claimed, "Northern Iberia, in addition to its ruggedness, not only is extremely cold, but it lies next to the ocean. Consequently, it's an exceedingly wretched place to live in." Nevertheless, the Celts in this region thrived. They built their fortified mountain towns out of stone, and men hunted and fished and worked iron. The women did the agricultural work, planting wheat and supplementing meager yields by gathering acorns in the forest. A 7th century Spanish bishop, Fructuosos of Braga, wrote with some accuracy that Galicia requires more work on the soil than any other land. The Celts of Spain, who came to be called Celtiberians, worshipped nature, just as Celts elsewhere had done. Oak trees, springs, mountains, and other natural forms were venerated as people brought items to sacrifice.
Grove worship.
For the many gods and goddesses that inhabited the natural world. As we will see, Christian leaders had a hard time persuading these independent Celts to give up their traditional rituals that had stood them well in these rugged hills. Even today, this northwest province of Galicia preserves traces of its Celtic roots. The regional musical instrument is the gaita, or bagpipes. And when I listened to them play, it made me think I was in Scotland. The stone houses in the green countryside feel like Ireland. And many of the words in the Galician dialect, called Gallegan, have Celtic roots. This northwest province of Spain joins the Basque as another of the unique regions that was established in the early settlement periods. Like many other scholars, I used to think that the Spanish Celts' resemblance to the Celts in the British Isles was due to their common homeland. However, recent DNA studies have shown that Spain served as a crossroad for Celts moving in the Bronze Age. It turns out that all the Celts in the British Isles originally came from Celts in Spain, who had crossed the Bay of Biscay during the Bronze Age. This stunning find means that during the Bronze Age, hardy Celts in Spain developed boats that could handle the rough Atlantic waters. There's a magnificent Bronze Age boat that was found in Dover, England, and it may be this kind of boat that let the Celts from Spain settle the north. However, they could not sail at night, so each night they beached their ships to sleep.
Introducing Fidelity Advantage 401k, the affordable.
Okay. Anybody get anything out of that? Okay.
Out again the next morning. To guarantee safe harbors, Phoenician traders established merchant colonies all along the north coast of Africa.
They come to the Edomites. See, they giving them another name. They hide, just like they hid over there with Japhet, and they hide. They always hide. They got this saying Phoenicians, but these Edomites.
By some estimates, there was a colony about every 30 miles. The most important colony was Carthage in North Africa, which was founded about 800 BCE. And as we will see, Carthage will play an important role.
Like I told you, they mulattoes. They got Negro features in them. They mulattoes. But another thing too is that's what Hitler was saying. He said that right when he trying to kill all those Jewish people that's over there, said they brought he believed that those Germans was a elite group of race of people, blonde hair and blue eyes, and that when in 70 AD, when those Edomites came there and started settling in their areas, in all those European areas, they brought the Negro feature and polluted them. That's why he was trying to kill them.
In Spain. The Phoenicians were the first peoples to link the eastern and the western Mediterranean and to sail through the treacherous Strait of Gibraltar into the Atlantic. From there, the traders went north as far as the British.
Okay, so let me finish it.
Isles, and even south down the coast of Africa.
Down there where the transatlantic slave trade started at. These Edomites, Phoenicians. So you're gonna get a better view of this when you watch it, because you're not able to see the video, but when you watch it, you're gonna see what's going on. So the transatlantic slave trade ain't just pop up out the blue. How they give us this information in history, give us a little rendition of what happened, but this it transformed. It matured into this, and it was Edomites. So another thing about Spain is, notice that's where all the wealth was at the time. That's where Esau gonna always end up at. That's why he ended up over in America. He got all the money. He sucked all the money out of America. He's sucking all the money out of Africa. Just where all the money was at, the tin and the iron, all that was in Spain. That's why Herod and his lineage was given safe passage to Spain. These Edomites, they under the radar. They got everybody thinking they done away with you, but they still in existence. They owned all the slave ships.
The most important colony they established in the Western Mediterranean was Cadiz, Spain, probably the oldest continuously inhabited city in Europe. When the Phoenicians arrived in Spain around 1100 BCE, they didn't bring weapons. They arrived with trade goods and were welcomed. As they came into the Atlantic, they found Cadiz, which was the perfect port for ships, both ancient and modern.
They're behind all the container ships today. Got you thinking somebody else.
The city lies in a cove with a spit of land protecting it from the Atlantic storms. There's a beautiful beach where ancient sailors could pull up their ships for the night. Today, travelers can see small fishing boats floating where the ancient traders landed. Archaeological excavations in Cadiz show the Phoenicians named the city Gadir, which means stronghold, indicating how defensible the city is. They built a large temple on the south end dedicated to their god Melkart, with giant columns that could be seen from ships approaching the strait. When the Phoenicians settled in the area around Cadiz, they found some small wild grapes, but they had brought along their own grape plants.
Check these out.
They started some small vineyards and began to make wine, that wonderful taste of the Eastern Mediterranean.
Edomites.
Subsequent invaders would build on and improve this beginning effort until today, when Spanish wines are world famous. But the real Phoenician contribution came with their skill in engineering. The port of Cadiz may have been a find for Phoenician traders, but the settlers exploited an even greater find, the silver mines of Rio Tinto, about 125 miles northwest from Cadiz. Ancient miners since the Bronze Age had worked these mines, excavating copper and silver, but those are only two of the metals that this region would yield. Rio Tinto was one of the largest mining complexes in the ancient world, and its origins are impossible to trace. Local folklore claims that Rio Tinto was the site of the biblical King Solomon's mines, and the fame of the mines in the ancient world makes this possible. Visitors today can see the almost moonscape that was left in the wake of millennia of mining. In fact, NASA has used Rio Tinto for its robots to drill as practice for the geological excavations on Mars. The Phoenicians brought new technology to the mines, and silver extraction spiked during their stay. The Phoenicians were highly motivated to extract silver from the mines because they owed the warlike Assyrians, their neighbors back in the Eastern Mediterranean, an annual tribute of large quantities of silver. As we can see, even 3,000 years ago, Spain remained in the crossroads of trade, from the Atlantic coast all the way to the Mesopotamian valley, where Assyrians grew rich on Spanish silver.
Okay.
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email.
Okay, anybody got a comment? I'm just trying to connect some dots. So the name of this video is, I get it posted, but it's Celtics, Phoenicians, and the Greek colonists. And this is between from 1 CE, you know, from the Common Era, right after which is already abominable, but you got to count backwards to 1 CE. Then from 1 CE you go up. So this is the time right here that they didn't boxed out of history. It's in the Bible, but they didn't box it out and gave you some kind of other rendition. So I'm just showing you Esau, because he's the culprit. He's the one behind it. So let me read this here, and then we can anybody got anything, comments or whatever, then we'll close out. So this is another one of those verses everybody read know. I'm in Isaiah 66. So we in the end times, everybody can see that. So I'm in Isaiah 66, and I'm gonna start at verse. This is a future prophecy on Israel. This is our hope, future hope. It says 66:1, verse 1 says, "Thus says the Lord, the heavens is my throne, the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye have built unto me, and where is the place of my rest? For all these things have my mine hand made, and all those things have been, says the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and a contrite spirit, and trembles at my word. He that killed an ox, this is as if he slew a man, and he that sacrifices a lamb, as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offered an oblation, as if he offered swine's blood. He that burneth incense, as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. I also shall choose their delusions, and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer, and when I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before my eyes, and chose that which I delighted not. Now here go the verse I'm talking about, 5. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren, this Esau, that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake. There go to the lamb right there. He wanted the land. And we saw in Obadiah, when the opportunity came, when the prophecy that Mosiah had prophesied on Israel through Daniel, that Israel was going to become desolate. When they left, Esau stole the land. He wanted the land. He understood that. He was raised by Abraham. So I'm going to read 5 again. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word, your brethren that hated you. See that? Hated. We're just looking at the hatred. We just saw examples of the hatred. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake. See, they cast out the land for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified. They built him a temple. But he shall appear to your joy. Lord hosts going to come back to our joy, and they're going to be ashamed. That's what they, and it's only one understanding to that verse. When you got the right information. So yeah, so like I was saying before, you know, you got to understand that, you know, what to happen. You know, to move forward and rightly divide the script, you got to understand what happened. And so, like I said, they left in 143 BC, and then Esau was given safe passage to Spain. That's where all the drama started from, Spain. And you can see right here, he built up a big old truckload of money, just like he got now, from all the silver and gold and all that he got out of Spain and the tin. That's what Joseph of Arimathea was dealing with. And that when you understand it, it connects them right to Caesarion and Cleopatra. So it tells us in when you read history and you read what happened with Caesarion and Cleopatra, was that she sent 2 most trusted servants to take her son Caesarion up to the monastery up in the Himalaya mountain to get away from Augustus Caesar, that was coming with 3 legions to kill Julius Caesar's son Caesarion and Mark Antony. And she sent Joseph of Arimathea and Mary Magdalene, Mary, and they sent them, and they took him on a caravan. Same way that Joseph came into Egypt on a caravan. They got caravans all over the place back in the ancient times, and the caravan took him right on into the monastery up in the Himalaya Mountains until another Alexander up in the Himalaya Mountains, and he stayed there 18 years. Came right back to Phoenicia, which we know right over to Galilee. There were Gentiles in Galilee. They don't want you to know that. That whole area was awash with Gentiles and Phoenician culture and Amorites culture. The Amorites sacrificed their sons. Come on. Okay, so like I was saying before, I'm gonna post that video. I'm gonna have it posted. So anybody got any comments before we get off the line? No comments? No questions?
Hey, Lana.
Okay.
Hey, you know, Spain played a big role in the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
That volcano going off for 40-something days now and counting. You know,
Right,
it look like judgment to me.
right. Yeah, that's what I was saying about that. When you understand what a tsunami is, and it's already on the money. It's on the money, and you know the money that's gonna happen. So they it's when the land, a large amount of land displace the water. And that's what they're so afraid of, that place over there where the volcano keep erupting, that part of the island gonna break off and go into the sea. And when it go down into the sea, it's gonna displace the water. That's what starts a tsunami. And so that tsunami goes, the other side of the Atlantic is East Coast. That's what everybody's afraid of. So if that happens, and that volcano keeps erupting and that land break off and go into the ocean, there's a tsunami coming to America, to the East Coast. That's already been, like I say, it's already on the dollar, on the $100 bill. Yeah. Okay. Did anybody get anything out of that? Okay. No comments? Okay, let me get this right here. Everybody good?
All good.
Okay. So we got the men's line tomorrow. We're gonna it's at 8 o'clock. I'll see y'all on tomorrow at 8, and I'll see everybody else on Wednesday at 7. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.